Yo, what's good? It's your boy S. Foster of the Stolen Time Podcast, and you are listening to episode 209 of the podcast. There's still no Uncle Washington. Shout out to my guy. There's still a lot going on with him, but things are looking a little better. So, like I say, I would say be on the lookout for Uncle Washington, but I do not know what that situation is going to be. It'd be great for him to return to the podcast. I know everybody's been missing him, but you know, that's this thing that's called life, and it happens. So the thing I'm going to touch on today, man, obviously the biggest thing that's going on right now is the NFL draft. And everybody that knows me, everybody that listens to this podcast know that I am a San Francisco 49er fan. I'm part of the Niner gang. You know what I'm saying? Bang, bang, Niner gang. So I'm going to start with my Niners, right? But I'm going to get into some other stuff. So don't think that I'm just going to be talking about the 49ers the whole podcast, because I'm not. Because there's a lot of stuff that's tied into this pick that they did with the first pick with Trey or what they did with their first pick of the first round. They had the third pick and picking up Trey Lance out of North Dakota State. Now, the thing about San Francisco is the fact that they drafted a guy, Trey Lance, that basically played one season, right? It's not that we haven't seen this before. There has been other quarterbacks who has played one season, in a red shirt year, in their red shirt senior year, their red shirt sophomore, their red shirt junior, all that type of stuff, right? So we've seen it before, but it's just the fact of this guy has, if I'm not mistaken, 328 throws, right? Now, is it a great thing, the fact that this guy has thrown 28 touchdowns, no picks? He has a total of 48 touchdowns. He threw for over, I think it was like 2,800 and rushed for over somewhere around like 1,200 or something like that. So the dude is a superior athlete. He is the D1 athlete. The reason he ended up going to North Dakota State is for the simple fact that the D1 schools did not want him. Well, they didn't think that he could play quarterback. So he decided to go to North Dakota State because North Dakota State gave him a shot at quarterback. Now we have seen guys thrive coming from a smaller school. The first person that always come to mind to me is Steve McNair. Steve McNair went to HBCU, Acorn State, and this dude really had pretty much a Hall of Fame career. You know what I'm saying? So, I think of Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco isn't the greatest. I don't care anything about that Super Bowl that he won, but fact stands that Joe Flacco had a couple of good years in the NFL. Okay, coming out of Delaware. Obviously Carson Wentz came out of the same school. Carson Wentz still kind of iffy. He has injury problems, but the thing is, Carson Wentz, he was having an MVP year, the year that the Eagles won a Super Bowl, even though he wasn't the quarterback to win the Super Bowl. Um, but my thing with Trey Lance is the NFL draft is everything about it is potential. Everything about it is upside. You never know how these guys are going to pan out when they come to the next level. And the thing is, you have to be very smart with what you do. And the hugest thing, it's not the fact that they drafted Trey Lance with the third pick in the draft. It's the fact that they had the 12th pick and they traded with the Dolphins. I believe they traded like a total of like 5 picks or something like that, but they gave up 2 future first round picks, right? So next year, 2022 and 2023, they don't have a first round pick. So what that means to me is Trey Lance not only have to be good and not only have to be the future of this team, he has to have potentially a better career than every quarterback, not just Zach Wilson and not just Trevor Lawrence. He has to be better than all the quarterbacks. And it has to be a situation where he's like the clear cut guy, really, for the next 3 to 4 years. When I mean by next 3 to 4 years, I mean the next 3 to 4 drafts. because he's probably not going to start this year. And the thing with him is the fact that he had that 1 year in 2019, all right, breakout season. Like I said, 28 touchdowns, 0 picks. That's never been done in football history, right? So then COVID hits, and I believe they are Division One, 2A. So Division One, 2A shut down football, and but they made this one exception for for North Dakota State to play one game, which he played. It was pretty average. He didn't, you know, I mean, he didn't really show up for that game. So he don't have a lot of reps, and that's what scares me because the thing is, you can tell that they're going to run it back with Jimmy G one more year. Like whether Jimmy G wins the Super Bowl or not, whether I think Jimmy G can win the MVP and still not be back next year. This is an audition for his excuse me. This is an audition for his next team. So Trey Lance, he needs reps. And with them taken away, because I believe it's going to be 2 or 3 preseason games. So this is a guy that needs reps because he needs to learn the NFL speed because it's totally different. And then you playing against competition that's not in them Power 5 conferences. Now you can say the same for Zach Wilson. You know what I'm saying? Like he didn't really play the type of superior athletes that somebody like Trevor Lawrence played, and and things like that. So it's still some questions around him. Like I don't know where he came from. This dude came out of nowhere. I mean, yeah, I know he went to BYU and all this stuff, but like the noise that we was hearing about Zach Wilson was not the second pick of the draft. You know what I'm saying? So this shit came out of nowhere. Like I don't understand. I mean, I know some people got their theories of what happened. I'm gonna keep that off here today. But like I don't understand how this dude just all of a sudden became the second pick in the draft. Um, but there's a lot of pressure that's going to be on Trey Lance, and it's not just the fact of just being a third round pick. It's also the third pick of the draft. This is going to follow him for the rest of his career because of how many picks the 49ers gave up. Now, with the 49ers having the talent that they have, a lot of the guys are young. It's a pretty young football team. Now, the 49ers could put together a good run. And they put together a good run in the scheme that Kyle Shanahan has. This dude has the potential to succeed. I don't hate the pick. I like the pick. Actually, I love the pick from what was going on because all this Matt Jones talk, I tried to tell y'all, I told y'all, I said it on Isolated Society. I said it on this podcast two podcasts ago. I told everybody this was a smoke screen. They was not drafting Matt Jones. I told y'all they wasn't drafting Matt Jones. Matt Jones is not the answer. He's like those type of pocket quarterbacks are a dying breed. You know what I'm saying? The only place that he's going to succeed is under Bill Belichick. So congratulations to him for making it to the Patriots. But I knew he was not going to be the guy from the very beginning. So that's one thing. So I love the pick from the simple fact of they did not get Matt Jones. I just don't think Matt Jones is. I mean, when you look at the history of Alabama quarterbacks, and look, and I said this, Alabama teams be stacked. And what people also have to understand about Alabama, when you have a stacked team like they always do, I mean, Matt Jones threw the two receivers who got drafted before him. We're talking about 2 first-round pick receivers and the running back and one of your offensive linemen got drafted in the first round. And when you got that much talent on one team, a lot of the time when you put these guys on the team, because this is the thing, even when it comes to receivers, they're they're not always teamed up with other dudes that can shine the way that they shine. And see, and a lot of times those guys get single coverages. And Matt Jones, like I said, this Matt Jones threw to a lot of wide open receivers, and it's just the fact that people don't have the talent and the amount of defensive backs to cover the type of receivers that they got. So there's a lot of wide open guys, and the thing is, we're gonna see how good Jalen Waddle is. We're gonna see how good Devontae Smith really is because now you don't have that first rounder beside you. You know what I'm saying? Now you're the guy. Now the one guy that has succeeded with no problem has been Julio Jones. Julio Jones is just one of those superior talents. I mean, when you look at Amari Cooper, I mean, people know who he is, but he's not a star receiver like he was coming out of Alabama. You know what I'm saying? So when you got all this talent on your team, look at the back. Like everybody thought Trent Richardson was going to be the next best thing, the next best Ricky Williams. This dude came in the league and he was trash, but he was playing with the best offensive line in college. He was playing with the best coach in college, and he was also playing with another, you know what I'm saying, two all-star running backs. So when you put all this talent on one team and you look at how, how many guys have been drafted in the first round and all this type of stuff, those guys usually don't pan out as that great when they get to the NFL. It's because y'all got all the NFL players on one team and all the other teams are kind of scattered. So they shine. But when you get around all NFL players, all of you don't shine. So that was my thing with Matt Jones. I mean, look at Matt Jones, AJ McCarron. You look at John David Booth, or was it John David Wilson? It was one of them. What's my other guy name? Greg McElroy. Like when you look at all these quarterbacks, it doesn't matter who the quarterback is because the team is so stacked. And I said this before, and Uncle Watson said I was crazy. I told him if I was the top player in the nation, or 5-star, 4-star recruit, I said I would not go to Alabama. I would rather go to a team where I can make a stamp. But it ain't even really about me. It's just the fact that I just don't want to go to a stacked team and just be another guy on a stacked team because you're not really challenged that way. Now, this is not a shot at anybody to go to Alabama. You got a chance to go there. That's all cool. They didn't recruit me, so I'm not hating. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying for the simple fact of just going to a stacked team like that, that's just not my preference. But I think that Trey Lance has to be better and end up having once he finally start, he has to blow Zach Wilson out of the water. He has to be better than Trevor Lawrence, which I think he could be because it's all about situation. I said this about Tom Brady. The only reason Tom Brady, look, I know everybody say I slander Tom Brady. I just don't think Tom Brady's that good. Do he got 6 Super Bowls, 7 Super Bowls, whatever the hell he got? Yes, he does. He was in the perfect situation. And yeah, even going to Tampa, he picked Tampa for a reason. It was a perfect situation for him. You know what I'm saying? So, but to finish out their draft, man, you know what I'm saying? They got excuse me, the 49ers end up drafting like, yo, look, they keep going to Notre Dame, man. I don't know why they keep going to Notre Dame, but they say that this guy is a beast though. They say he is a flat out beast, but they get another offensive lineman out of Notre Dame. And then the crazy part is this dude got the same damn number as Mike. I say his name, Mike McClinty, or something like that. McClinty, I think it's McClinty. He wore the same number at Notre Dame and Mike McClinty. They get Aaron Banks, the guard, out of Notre Dame. So I'm happy with that. I'm always a guy that what I'm saying, you have to beef up the offensive line. They lost the guy, on the offensive line. So I think that was That was very smart, man. I remember I'm always the guy that champions that 2013 draft that the 49ers did when they drafted the tackle. They had two first round picks that year. They drafted the tackle, um, Anthony Davis out of Rutgers, and they got Mikey Potty, the guard out of Idaho. And I thought that that was like one of the best drafts that I ever had because they was really weak on the offensive line, and those guys ended up being really good. Then the 49ers drafted Trey Sermon. I had to hit my boy Scoot Brunson up, because he's seen a lot of his games. I asked him about him. He said, man, he is a great back. He's a hard worker. He's also one of those dudes who he said that what did he say? He's a hard worker and he believes that he can fit really good in that rotation. He don't think that he will be in that rotation early. He will have to work at it, but he think that he could be a really good back. So we got him out of Ohio State, and then also we drafted a corner out of Michigan, Aubrey Thomas. I think that I haven't seen a lot of Aubrey Thomas, but I do think that the size that he is, a guy that loves to come up and tackle, those are the type of defensive backs that the 49ers are looking for. They like guys that'll come up and put a hat on you. So that is a great sign. Some other things that stand out, man, like, I mean, I'm happy for the guys to be able to play together. Jacksonville drafted Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne. So those guys are reunited in the NFL. I think Jacksonville roster. I don't know if Trevor Lawrence is the guy that can flip that team to being where they are in the AFC South to being an actual contender in the first 2 years or whatnot. They still need a lot of help with that roster. So I think that I don't think that like this whole transcendent player that everybody thinks Trevor Lawrence is. Look, I could be completely off. I just don't know if he's that guy. I don't know if he's that guy that can flip a team like Peyton Manning flipped the Indianapolis Colts. And I don't think that he's that guy. I don't think he's the Andrew Luck talent that can flip that roster like that. Another noticeable thing was Jalen Waddle, man. Jalen Waddle, he goes six to the Miami Dolphins, and everybody's talking about the war room thing when he stood up, fixed his coat, and walked out. Like when his name got called, he didn't hug his mom. He didn't hug anybody in his family, anybody that he brought there. He went straight to the stage, and people was like, "Man, you got to at least hug your mama." Like this is the thing. We don't know what his relationship is like with people. Let's be honest. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm always the guy who's take the opposite approach because, you know, I understand that there are family issues. And I don't know if it was something where he was setting the tone by saying like, "Yo, were you with me in the weight room?" type of thing. Look, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm just playing devil's advocate with it. We don't know if him and his mom got a great relationship. Me and my mom don't have a great relationship, but that's besides the point. But the thing is, everybody noticed it. So I know that there was some kind of conversation that went on after that of like, I don't know if he wanted to share that moment by himself or whatever the case may be, but you also got to understand that you didn't get that by yourself. There's never a situation where, you know, there were things that I'm pretty sure that happened in your life where you needed other people. How great a superior athlete that you are, you still need people to get you there. I don't know what the situation is. I hate to speak on it because, I really don't know what happened there, but the dude felt that the right thing to do at that moment was to just walk, to the stage and not hug anybody. No handshakes, no daps, no nothing. So that is what it is. Another notable thing that I want to point out is Devontae Smith going to the Philadelphia Eagles, and there's a lot of talk about this dude being 166 pounds. He gives dude hope that are smaller receivers. I remember there was a thing with Deshaun Jackson, coming out of Cal. Everybody thought that he was too small, but Deshaun Jackson was like 10 pounds heavier. He was like 178, 180. But he was a little taller. And so they have a history of having a smaller receiver. I think that there are going to be some defensive backs that he struggled with. He really going to have to rely on his quickness, especially coming off the line. But he could be a mismatch with some guys like I think one of the greatest defensive backs in the game right now is Jalen Ramsey. But being a taller guy and being as thick as he is, like he has the problem that I have. He don't have like the hips to really cover a shorter, quicker dude like that. So that could be a matchup that Devontae Smith could be looking for. But I think that they have a history of having a smaller receiver on their team. So I think that they're going to be creative with him, put him in the slot so he can't really get jammed a lot. But I hope the best for the guy, man, because a lot of people are, putting him down for the simple fact of how small he is and saying that he's going to get broken up. And look, if he's able to avoid the big hits, he's going to be fine. You know what I'm saying? That's really the thing, is knowing how to get hit, if that's the thing. Like, people that play football is going to understand that statement. Knowing how to not take the biggest blow. You know what I'm saying? Running out of bounds. I remember I used to talk shit about Emmitt Smith for running out of bounds. But I was young and I didn't understand why take the necessary hits if you don't have to. So he has to really find the sideline, get down when you need to get down. There's no reason to try to fight for another yard. You know what I'm saying? So just be smart with that. Justin Fields was supposed to be, a lot of people had him rated as the second quarterback in the draft. He ended up being, the third, and he goes to the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears got a weird situation going on right now. You know what I'm saying? They got the red rifle in Andy Dalton, and they got Nick Foles, and then they just drafted Justin Fields with the 11th pick. They don't know what the hell they want to do with the quarterback position. Um, it didn't seem like Justin Fields was really happy. I hate to judge him from that video, but it did not look like he was really trying to go to the Chicago Bears. He looked like the facial expression on his face. He looked like he got drafted by the Detroit Lions. I'm sorry, Sinclair, but that's what he looked like. Uh, like I just mentioned it real quick. Matt Jones going to the Patriots at 15. He really he fell in the perfect situation for him, man. That was the perfect situation for that guy. So I think that that's the only place that he could have went that would put him in the best situation to win. I'll put it that way, because like I say, it matters where you're drafted at, and I think that Trey Lance going to San Francisco and the type of team that he has around him, it's a great situation for him. You know what I'm saying? Kyle Pitts, man, going to the Falcons. The Falcons, a lot of people feel that Kyle Pitts is the best player in the draft. So they went best player over need. They have a lot of offensive weapons. Julio Jones, Kyle Ridley. Their offense can look scary, but they still got one of the worst defense in the league. And you got a quarterback that's really, I feel like he's on his last leg. And I think that they're just like, we're going to load up with a whole bunch of offensive weapons and try to stop us. I mean, you can't be mad at it. It's a perfect situation for Kyle Pitts, because there ain't gonna be no way that they're gonna be able to double team anybody. You can't double team anybody on that offensive roster right now. And they still got Todd Gurley in the backfield. I don't know how good Todd Gurley is gonna be. But offensively, you know what I'm saying? They're like the not New Jersey. Look at my ass. They're like the Brooklyn Nets right now. It's a whole bunch of offensive talent, but it can't stop anybody. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like the Cowboys. The Cowboys got a whole bunch of offensive talent. It was smart for them to draft Parsons because they just lost Sean Lee. So they were. A lot of people say that they're upset because they wasn't able to get the defensive backs that they wanted. I think two of them was taken right in front of them, the ones that they wanted, but they ended up going need. And you need to have a great inside linebacker, man. I'm sorry, any successful team, even I mean, when you just look at the history of middle linebackers, man, like my squad, we had two of the best, to me, in my opinion, to play the game, and Patrick Willis and Navarro Bowman, and now we have Fred Warner, I mean not Hall of Fame, but Pro Bowler. You need a great inside linebacker. So I'm not mad. I mean, I always hope for the worst for the Cowboys, but the Cowboys did good with that pick. But I don't know how great this dude can be though, because he's not a great cover linebacker. Getting guys out the backfield and covering tight ends. So that's something that he has to work on. Shout out to my guy, Asante Samuel Jr., coming out of Florida State. He's teaming up, what I'm saying, with the All-American out of Florida State, Doran James, what I'm saying? So they teamed up together out there with the Chargers. He went in the second round, 47th pick. So unfortunately, he's the only, pretty much the only 49er off the not 49er, but no guy, what I'm saying, drafted up to this point, man. Like I said, we've been down. We've been down, man. This isn't the last couple of years hasn't been that great, but we about to pick that back up. You know what I'm saying? We about to start back ruling the draft in a couple more years. Something else noticeable: Kyle Trask going to the Bucks. Man, that's Scoots Bronson's guy. He feels that he's going to be the steal of the draft, and he's going to be behind Brady, man. So it looks like the Bucks got their replacement for my man, not my man. What the hell is wrong with me? Seems like they got their replacement for Tom Brady. We don't know how much longer he got, how much longer he's going to play, but Scoots Bronson seemed to think that he's going to be the man, and when it's all about situation, people. Everything's about situations. All about not just being drafted in the perfect situation that fits your skill set. And he also gets to stay in Florida, so that's another plus for that guy. Texas A&M quarterback goes to Kellen Mond. He ended up going to the Vikings in the third round, so he's going to be backing up Kirk Cousins. I think that's something to keep an eye on, because Kirk Cousins, he's just you can't never put your finger on it. I just don't know how great he's gonna be. But up to this point, because the draft picks up back today, so that's all I really got. I just wanted to. It was a few things I really wanted to get off my chest when it came to the draft, because the fourth round hasn't started yet, and everybody that knows me, like, I watch every Florida State game, so there's not a lot of some of these other guys. I don't really know how great they are, how good they really is. So it's going to be interesting to see how this pans out. I don't really do draft grades, because you can't really do any draft grades until like 3 or 4 years down the road. Like it's just one of those things where you giving grades. It's like you're grading a test that you don't know the answers to yet. So it's like a teacher would grade a test because she got the answer sheet. The answer sheet ain't out yet. The answer sheet, we not gonna know it until at least 2-3 years down the road. So I'm not doing the whole draft grade thing, because we just don't know how these picks are going to pan out. I mean, that's just like when you look at a guy, like, everybody says that Trevor Lawrence is the clear cut, you know what I'm saying, quarterback in this draft. He could end up being the second, third, fourth best in this draft. And they could all be off the situation and how he gets handled. I mean, shout out to my guy Alex Smith. He just retired a couple weeks ago. You know what I'm saying? I've seen a lot of Alex Smith. Alex Smith was not a bad quarterback. He just got drafted at a bad time, where the 49ers was in. They were one of the worst teams in the league. They was firing coaches every year. He had a different offensive coordinator and a different quarterback coach for like his first like 7 years in the league. And then he finally get a good coach, but this coach draft Colin Kaepernick behind him, and he had a great year and a half. You know what I'm saying? And if Alex Smith never would have had his first 6, 7, 8 years the way that it was, then maybe he would be more of a better viewed quarterback in the draft. You know what I'm saying? For being the number one overall pick a couple years ago. He just got drafted in a bad spot. I mean, I hate to say it, but at the time, the 49ers was a bad team to go to when he got drafted. So it's all about situation. And this dude could go into he could go into Jacksonville and it could never work out. He could always have different coaches that or they could do him like Aaron Rodgers. This would be my last thing. People are upset with Aaron Rodgers for what he did, and the people felt that he took away from guys in the draft, right? Jet, the what's that dude name out of South Carolina? Horn. His dad is upset because he felt that his son didn't get enough coverage when he got drafted because they felt that they was talking about Aaron Rodgers too much when his son got drafted. And I get that. But Aaron Rodgers has kept his mouth shut last year when they drafted Jordan Jordan Love. Aaron Rodgers has been feeling disrespected and he has had a disservice in Green Bay. What people don't seem to understand what I mean by disservice is they have not drafted one first round skill player to Green Bay since he's been there. Then the only one that they did was last year, and it was his replacement in Jordan Love. They have not appreciated this man. I have said on multiple occasions that Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback in the league. You know what I'm saying? Now, what's the name is catching him. Patrick Mahomes is catching him. But as far as pure skill, Aaron Rodgers is the man. And the way they're not consulting with him. They're not asking him, hey, yo, what you think? They can at least be like, yo, what you think when you are he was the MVP of the league last year. The MVP of the NFL at like 36, 37 years old. Or 38, whatever he is. And this is the wild part. Miami Dolphins consulted with a guy that's not even started yet. You know what I'm saying? And Tua. And he would have liked to have Jalen Waddle. And they drafted Jalen Waddle. And they won't even consult with Aaron Rodgers. Now the thing is, I know that there are some people like Uncle Washington, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to my guy, but he feel that you shouldn't have to consult with the players because y'all don't run the team, y'all are players. And I always try to tell him, yo, it's a different age, it's a different time. You can at least speak with the guy and be like, yo, do you think this would be a good pick? Is he a good fit? So Aaron Rodgers stayed quiet, but you have to say something, and this was the time to say it, is before the NFL draft. Because I will go on Aaron Rodgers' side here and say that I didn't find anything wrong with what he did because maybe he should have did it a week before, and maybe people could have put together packages a little better than trying to do it last minute. But I was for the 49ers trading for Aaron Rodgers. But they put a package together. Green Bay didn't like it. They turned it down because they said it ain't the fact that they didn't really like it. They just said they're not trading. They hold all the cards because Aaron Rodgers got 3 years left on his deal. So in closing, I think that I understand. He felt his son, Horn, felt his son didn't get the coverage, and this is the only time you're ever going to be drafted. So you're never going to get that moment back. I feel for him. I understand. But at the same time, I also understand that this is a business. And Aaron Rodgers knew that the only way that he's going to get drafted, there's going to have to be some picks involved in this. And unfortunately, it didn't work out. but I understand what Aaron Rodgers was trying to do. Um, so man, listen, I appreciate everybody for listening and rocking with your boy. I know it's been difficult for the people that are huge Uncle Washington fans. Um, like I say, I wish I had some answers for you. I don't have any answers. I don't know if he will be able to return or when he was going to be able to return. But I try my best to hold it down. Um, I've had a lot of guests on lately. This is something that I just want to do by myself. I did a isolated society with the guys from We Go High. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to them. And Jamar, he came on with us for the first hour of the draft, for the first round. You know what I'm saying? The first day. So I was on that. If you want to hear some of that coverage, I wasn't able to get some things off, and plus it was spur of the moment. So I just wanted to come on here and speak of some of the things I wanted to pick on to speak on. So and also shout out for Scoots Bronson, man, my co-host, well, a co-host of the Views Anonymous podcast that we do together. Go check that out, man. We just did Mortal Kombat. That's the last movie that we did. We broke that movie down. So if you into movies, into film, we do that 2 times a week. So go check out the Viewers Anonymous. It's on all major platforms, and you can find everything on the VA Podcast Watch Group page. That's where you can find all the links to everything, to this podcast, to the 28 Minutes or Less podcast, all those types of things. Um, rate, subscribe, follow, tell a friend. You know what I'm saying? Please just, if you rock with the boy, you love the content on here, tell people about it. You know what I'm saying? Trying to grow this podcast still. Um, on episode 209, been doing it for a long time, so I appreciate everybody that's been rocking with me. You can find me on Facebook, the Stolen Time Podcast page. You also can go to the Stolen Time Pod on Instagram. You also can go to s.foster8. That's on Instagram and Twitter. So I appreciate everybody that's been rocking with me. This was episode 209 of the Stolen Time Podcast. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Scoots Bronson. Shout out to Candace for rocking with me. Also, shout out to Sinclair. Shout out to all the former guests that I've had on this podcast. You know what I'm saying? Most of all, shout out to my guy Casey. You know what I'm saying? Still holding it down for me. And that's all I got. And your boy is out.